Welcome back. Today we're making these delicious and creamy Snickerdoodle Cheesecake bars. They really do taste just like a Snickerdoodle and they are so delicious. The first step is to make our Snickerdoodle crust, which is really just a cinnamon graham cracker crust. The first step is combining our graham cracker crumbs, our granulated sugar, and our ground cinnamon. We're going to whisk that together and then add in our melted butter. It's important that you whisk the dry ingredients together before adding in the melted butter, or else your butter can combine with your cinnamon and create straight up cinnamon chunks, which is not what we're after. Once our mixture looks kind of like moist sand, we're gonna scoop it into our lined 8x8 square baking dish, and we're gonna press it down to create a nice even crust. I love to use the bottom of a measuring cup, but any cup or thing you can find in your kitchen that has a flat bottom should work great. Once our crust looks nice and even, we're popping it in the preheated oven for about 8 minutes. While that bakes and cools, the next step is to make our cinnamon sugar swirl. Now this is what gives these cheesecake bars pretty much all their flavor, and it's so easy to make. We're combining our light brown sugar, our granulated sugar, and of course some of our ground cinnamon. We're whisking this together until the ingredients are evenly incorporated, and then we're gonna set that aside just for a moment. The last component of this recipe is the cheesecake filling. To make it, we're adding our room temperature cream cheese into a large bowl, and we're gonna mix that on a medium speed for 1 to 2 minutes until our cream cheese is really nice and smooth. This step really helps avoid having any large chunks of cream cheese in your batter, so I don't recommend skipping it. Next, we add in our granulated sugar and our vanilla extract. We're gonna mix that on a medium speed until combined, and then we're gonna slowly incorporate our eggs one at a time. As always, it helps so much if your ingredients are at room temperature. Everything just mixes together better and bakes up better. If you forget to set your eggs out ahead of time, you can always pop them in a bowl with some warm water, and they should be ready to go in about 5 minutes. Once our cheesecake batter is all ready to go, we are pouring half of it over our graham cracker crust. We're gonna smooth it out to create a nice even layer, and then we're gonna sprinkle 2/3 of our cinnamon sugar mixture on top of that. You wanna spread it out so that it covers all the cheesecake, because you want that ripple to be in every bite of our cheesecake. We're then adding the rest of our cheesecake filling on top of that and smoothing it out. This step can be a little bit difficult because if you kind of pull up with your back of your spoon or your offset spatula or whatever you're using, the cinnamon sugar can kind of pull up, but don't worry, just try to kind of move in nice even strokes and just keep working that batter around until it's fully covered the cinnamon sugar. We're gonna spoon the rest of our cinnamon sugar that we have set aside on top of that and marble all the cheesecake together with that cinnamon sugar with a butter knife or an offset spatula. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. The whole goal is just to make it kind of have a crackly top and look just like a Snickerdoodle. Then we're gonna pop our cheesecake bars into our preheated 325-degree Fahrenheit oven, and we're gonna bake them for about 40 to 50 minutes. It can be hard to know when your cheesecake is done, and the best way to test it is the jiggle test. Unfortunately, you can't use a toothpick in the center like we do for cake layers, but the jiggle test works pretty well. It's mostly visual, and you want to open your oven and look at your cheesecake. The edges should be mostly set, and when you jiggle the pan lightly, the center should wiggle a bit. And if the center is wiggling but the sides are set, your cheesecake is ready to go. Once you reach that stage, you want to take your cheesecake bars out and let them cool to room temperature. Then you want to pop them in the fridge and chill them even more for up to 2 hours. This is going to make them so much easier to cut, and it also is going to help prevent cracking. Once our cheesecake bars are totally chilled, it's time to cut them. I love to use a nice sharp knife that I dip in hot water and dry off each time I cut so that my slices are really clean and beautiful. The best thing about these cheesecake bars is they actually taste even better over time, so you can totally make these in advance or store leftovers. They keep in the fridge for up to 5 days. I absolutely love how these Snickerdoodle cheesecake bars turned out, and I hope that you guys did too. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to make these at home, the recipe is included in the video description below. And until next time, happy baking.